Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. has decided that the real culprit behind America's gun violence isn't, well, guns. It's video games.
Yep, the same guy who thinks raw milk is a balanced breakfast now believes Call of Duty is single-handedly turning Johnny into John Wick.
Forget background checks, forget decades of politician inaction. Clearly, a teenager teabagging someone in Halo is the root of society's problems, because nothing screams expert opinion like blaming digital bullets instead of the real ones. He even waxes nostalgic about his school days, bragging that
Kids used to bring guns to school and nobody ever shot anybody.
Bobby, that's not a flex, that's just a terrifying red flag in hindsight. But no, according to him, the difference is that back then we didn't have PlayStations corrupting innocent youth. Apparently kids in the 70s were too busy rolling joints and blasting Zeppelin to consider mass shootings.
Ah yes, peace, love and unregistered rifles. What a golden era indeed.
To prove his points, he waves Switzerland around like a PowerPoint slide, claiming they've got guns but no mass shootings. Tiny little small detail, Bobby. Switzerland also has universal healthcare, mandatory military training, and a population smaller than New York City. But sure, let's ignore all that and pin it on Xbox. By this logic, we should also ban Nerf guns, paintball, and probably Rock'em Sock'em robots just to be safe.
Don't want any kids getting ideas from plastic boxing toys, right?
Kennedy loves the idea that violent video games turn otherwise normal kids into unhinged psychos. He probably imagines Johnny playing Grand Theft Auto 5, then immediately stealing his mom's minivan and running over pedestrians to Grand XP. In reality, the worst thing gamers do is yell,
Lag, when they get smoked by a 12-year-old with better reflexes.
Oh, but no, Bobby sees an Xbox controller and immediately hears the purge sirens in his head. He acts like pressing X to reload is some kind of rehearsal for mass murder. Following his logic, pressing triangle to pet the dog in Red Dead Redemption should also turn kids into veterinarians. Strange how that doesn't happen, huh? But nuance isn't Kennedy's strong suit. He's the type of guy who'd watch a kid play Minecraft and worry they'll grow up to be a construction worker
with murderous tendencies. Bob the Builder, watch your freaking back.
The truth is, Bobby, every actual peer-reviewed study keeps finding the same exact thing. Playing violent games might make you temporarily cranky, but it doesn't turn you into the freaking Joker. If anything, video games are the reason half of us aren't punching walls in freaking real life. But sure, Bobby, let's pretend Mortal Kombat is the devil's training manual while completely ignoring, well,
access to freaking firearms.
Because acknowledging that might upset his donors, and we can't have that. Now, Bobby, you should look at the scientific consensus more carefully, because I know, it's so painfully clear it hurts. Video games do not cause real-world violence. What they do cause is occasional carpal tunnel, Dorito crumbs in your keyboard, and friendship ruined over Mario Kart blue shells. But Kennedy skips over the mountain of data and instead cherry-picks any stat that can be twisted into a headline. It's less science and more like conspiracy improv night at the comedy club. Actual criminologists,
not you, Bobby,
have spent decades proving that gun violence is linked to socio-economic issues, access to weapons, and mental health care. But no, Bobby reads that, shrugs and says, but have you seen Fortnite dances? Pure freaking evil. If academic research were a boss fight, Bobby would still be stuck on the tutorial level, mashing buttons with no clue what's happening.
And somehow he's still getting airtime on national television.
Bobby, if games really caused violence, half the planet would be dead by now. Japan and South Korea have insane gaming cultures, and yet their mass shooting rates are basically non-freaking existent. But no, Bobby won't touch that fact because it doesn't fit his fairy tale. Instead, he'd rather act like playing Doom is the moral equivalent of loading a real shotgun.
Meanwhile, actual shooters are buying guns easier than I can order pizza.
And if you freaking look at his speeches, Bobby's speeches on video games aren't policy, they're stand-up routines without the freaking laughter. He knows exactly what he's doing, don't you, Bobby? He is selling fear to clueless parents who think Roblox is a drug. He stands at the podium dramatically clutching his pearls as if his words alone will stop the next tragedy. In reality, he's just serving up reheated talking points that were stale 20 freaking years ago. And politicians eat this stuff up because it's easy. Blaming video games is way simpler than addressing the gun lobby or fixing broken healthcare. A few dramatic lines about protecting the children and suddenly you look like a hero, don't you, Bobby? It's political fast food, cheap, greasy, and guaranteed to give you indigestion. Kennedy has turned scapegoating into a one-man Broadway show.
Minus the talent.
And the grand irony, most of the politicians clapping along are probably sneaking games on their phones during boring sessions.
Imagine Bobby yelling about the dangers of gaming while some senator is literally playing Candy Crush behind him.
If being hypocrite were a video game, Washington would be speedrunning it on nightmare difficulty. And Bobby would still find a way to blame freaking Mario. The Maha report, or Make America Healthy Again, that Kennedy clings to,
By the way, he's the leader.
wasn't even about violence, it was about screen time in general. But no, leave it to Bobby. To read too much screen time can affect health, as video games cause school shootings. That's like reading.
Alcohol in moderation is fine as time to mainline tequila shots in the Senate chamber.
His ability to misinterpret is truly Olympic level. Screen time issues are real. Sure, too much of anything isn't great. But the report wasn't pointing a finger at games alone. It was talking about phones, TVs, computers, the whole deal. Bobby, of course, laser beams on gaming because it's easier to demonize than admit adults are just as glued to their screens. Heaven forbid we acknowledge that Uncle Jerry scrolling Facebook memes for 8 hours is just as bad as Jimmy playing Fortnite. So now, thanks to Bobby, we've got parents thinking every hour of gaming is one step closer to jail time. Meanwhile, kids are just trying to unlock skins and not get yelled at in voice chat.
If anyone deserves the blame, it's freaking Activision for charging $20 for a digital outfit.
But sure, let's keep screaming about imaginary violence while real issues like cyberbullying and data privacy float by unfreaking noticed. Bobby loves pointing to Switzerland as his big I got you. They have guns but no mass shooting, so clearly video games are the only difference. Yeah, Bobby, except for strict laws, cultural differences and national policies that make the US look like a clown car on fire. But please, go ahead. Tell us again how banning Xbox will fix everything. It's not just Switzerland he abuses. He cherry picks data like it's a freaking buffet. Any country that disproves his point mysteriously disappears from his argument. Japan? No. South Korea? No. Both have massive gaming cultures like I mentioned, but almost zero freaking shootings. According to Kennedy's math, those countries shouldn't even exist anymore.
Oops.
This is the problem with his freaking logic. It's built on vibes, not evidence. He's less concerned with the truth and more concerned with sounding like the adult in the room. Meanwhile, every actual adult is rolling their eyes and every gamer is roasting him online.
Let's go, my community.
His argument collapses faster than a Jenga tower on a drunk Friday night. Let's face it, guys. Fear sells, and Bobby's basically running a clearance sale. Parents hear video games cause violence and immediately start panicking about little Johnny's Nintendo Switch. The news? They freaking love it because nothing pulls clicks like a good old-fashioned moral panic. Kennedy just happens to be the loudest vendor at the Fear Bazaar. His whole freaking routine is basically Mad Libs.
Kids these days, plus violent games, plus tragic event equals headlines.
Doesn't matter if the facts line up, the drama does, and that's enough. It's cheap theater dressed as concern. Politicians not alone, because pretending to care is way easier than drafting actual legislation. Meanwhile, kids are online laughing at this absurdity. They're making memes of Kennedy holding a controller like it's a bomb. Sorry guys. The cycle repeats. Outrage, panic, memes, then nothing changes. If anything, Kennedy's just giving gamers more material to dunk on him. He's less a policymaker and more of a community punching bag. But here is a really scary part, and I am not joking here guys, well except for Bobby. Bobby's claims is that people take him actually seriously. Parents who don't know Minecraft from MySpace eat up his words like gospel. Suddenly, every kid with an Xbox is treated like a ticking time bomb. It's paranoia wrapped in ignorance, served with a side of political theater. What's actually causing violence? Well, the freaking answer is right in front of you, Bobby. Easy access to guns, crippling healthcare, broken social safety nets. But no, does that fit any of Kennedy's narrative? No, so he freaking ignores it. Why confront reality when you can scapegoat Mario Kart? Newsflash, Bobby.
Red shells might bruise egos, but they don't kill freaking people. Guns, on the other hand, do.
And here's the thing, guys. The more time we waste on Bobby's nonsense, the less time we spend on real solutions. That's the real tragedy here. He's not just wrong, he's a freaking distraction, a shiny object dangled in front of the public to keep us from asking hard questions. Meanwhile, the cycle of violence rolls on. Now, Bobby wants to be seen as a health advocate, but he comes off like a dad who just discovered the internet and doesn't like what he sees. Every controller is a weapon, every teenager is a suspect. The paranoia is exhausting, but also hilarious in its absurdity. He criticizes children's screen habits while ignoring the fact that adults spend just as much time scrolling garbage online. Go ahead, Bobby. Show me a teenager grinding Fortnite and I will show you a senator doom-scrolling Twitter at 3 AM. But no, it's the kids we have to worry about.
Hypocrisy, thy name is
Bobby. The reality is, Kennedy's war on video games is less about saving lives and more about scoring headlines. He knows it plays well on the back in my day crowd. But gamers, we're just roasting him to hell and back. If ridicule could be weaponized, Booby would need body armor by now. At the end of the day, Booby's argument is built on sand. He's blaming digital entertainment for real-world violence, and it just doesn't add up. It's lazy, outdated, and embarrassing on a global scale. Even Switzerland is probably shaking its head like,
Don't drag us into this, bro.
Newsflash, Booby, video games don't cause mass shootings. Easy gun access, political cowardice, being cowards and systematic failures do. But no, Booby would rather play moral police than confront uncomfortable truths. It's easier to wag a finger at kids than pass off your donors. That's politics in America. So gamers keep gaming, parents keep panicking, and Booby keeps ranting. It's a loop more repetitive than an EA Sports franchise. The difference, EA actually makes money, Kennedy just makes headlines, and at the end of the day,
Logic gets teabagged harder than a noob in Halo.
Now guys, what do you think? Are video games unfairly scapegoated, or do they actually play a role in violence? Let me know in the comments below. I read each and every one of them. And my fellow and dear gamers and gamerettes, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content in the future. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.